Hello and welcome to episode 39 of the Sweet Lavender Knits podcast. Today is January the 26th, 2020. Happy New Year to you all. It's my first podcast for this year, and I welcome you for joining me today if you're new, and welcome back to those that are returning. My name is Christine, and I'm coming to you from Toronto, Ontario in Canada. It's a Sunday afternoon, it's very gloomy, and I am hoping to get a podcast in because it's been a very long time since I've done one. You can find me on social media on Instagram as sweet_lavender1 and on Ravelry as sweet lavender1. We also have a lovely Ravelry group on Ravelry. It's called the Sweet Lavender Knits group. So come on by, check us out, and feel free to join in. Usually there are some knit-alongs going on, and there is a Let's Chat thread. We can chat about anything. So just come on by and check us out if you'd like. I have a few things to share with you today, some finished objects, some partly finished objects. I'll explain that in just a bit. Some works in progress for sure. I've cast on new things, and a little bit of acquisition, gifts really, that I would really like to share. So why don't you grab your needles, something nice to drink, your favorite project, and let's get started. So first off, on the calendar, and I'm gonna say this right off the bat for those who are probably checking out this podcast wondering what the outcome of our year-end whip down KAL that we had going from October the 1st, I believe, all the way to December 31st. And I have a prize package here that I'm just holding, and it's in plastic wrap. I have to explain because I want to keep it clean as well as protected to send off. It is the West Yorkshire Spinners Christmas colorway called Robin, and I have one skein here along with the Christmas card that it came in, and I will be popping in a project bag that I didn't bring with me here, but it is not a Christmas theme project bag that I'd hope to do, but it will be a project bag. So that is the prize. The winner, I didn't pick the winner yet. So what I'm going to do is, while I'm editing this podcast, I will just pick a winner and put it up on the screen right now. Congratulations to the winner. Thank you for all of those that participated. I know a lot of you have been doing a lot of different things. Some of you had extensive works in progress that you were finishing off, and I really appreciate all of you for all those of you that joined in to that KAL. It was really fun to keep up with your comments, even though I was a little silent for most of the time, just because I didn't want too many of my comments going in there and sort of making it a little more complicated when I have to pick a winner. So I hope you would understand that. Yes, so congratulations to the winner. All of you are really winners because you've been able to complete those works in progress that you had on the needles. And I will send you a message on Ravelry, and hopefully you'll be able to give me your mailing address so I can have that package out to you. Yes, the other thing was there were some of you who joined in with my year of socks that I did for 2019, and I was hoping to have 12 pairs of socks through the year, one for each month, and I have to say for most of the months I was able to do that until midway through the year when I couldn't keep up with my knitting, and I sort of got a little behind. So I finished the year with 11 pairs of socks and the 12th pair on the needles, which I finished just a little after the new year, and a few of you had joined in for that, and it was really encouraging to see you cast on, and some of you were done like within the second week of the month. You know, some of you are pretty fast at your knitting, or maybe have a little bit more time. And you know, I wanted to thank you all for those of you that joined in for that as well. So I am going to pick a winner. Again, I have not picked winners, so I'm going to pick a winner, put it up right here on the screen, and I will gift you a pattern from Ravelry. So if you can let me know a pattern of your choice, $10 and under, and I will gift that to you. And that's just for participating in the fun and you know, encouraging me as well. So thank you very much for all of you who joined in. Yes, that was 2019. It was a very busy December. I don't feel like even though I know it's been a very long time since I have sat down to podcast, it doesn't feel like a very long time to me, because I was doing these Advent little videos on Instagram with my Advent minis as I was opening them. I had 18 Advent minis that I had done swaps with some of other viewers from Luli's podcast, and it was really fun. Christmas is now a blur, but it was really busy at the time, and I ended up getting sick really bad, and it's one of our busiest times of the year at work for year end, and I was thankful and that I had that I was able to have a few days off, and that really helped me with trying to get a little better before heading back to work. So all that to say that I am sorry that it's taken me so long, but here I am at the end of January, and I have missed you guys, missed sharing with you, you know, but I really do hope, I wish you the very best for this year, and I really do hope that I'll, you know, our knit nights will be a little bit more regular. I was really touched by somebody who told me that they don't have a knit night to go to also, and they enjoy ours. So yes, that is exactly the way I feel, being part of the knit night, except sometimes life just gets in the way, and I hope you understand that. Okay, so moving along to finished objects. At the end of, for Christmas actually, I tried to knit a pair of socks for each of my kids, and I'd shared the other two with you, but for my little one, I cast on in the same colorway as, you know, the West Yorkshire Spinners Robin. I cast this pair of socks on, and I will hold up two just to show you that I have done two, but I'm going to take away one because one ended up in the wash and the other did not. This is my little son, and my youngest son. And yes, so one of the socks ended up in the wash and the other did not, but I have to say that it held up so well. Not a single pilling. It did not pill at all. It looks really nice and bright, as you can see. The yarn, the contrast yarn that I used is just it's called Wool Like. I forget what brand it is. It's Wool Like. It's like a wool and acrylic blend, and I thought it'll be perfect for heels and toes, and so that's where I've used it. The rest of it is that West Yorkshire Spinners Robin. And the reason I wanted to knit it up, first of all, it's a Christmas colorway, and it was perfect to knit him a pair of socks. I've been giving him a pair of socks every Christmas for the last 3 years now, and he really loves his hand knit socks, and so does my oldest son. My daughter is a little more precious with them and wears them at home, but she likes it too. So here it is. The pattern that I've used is just a 3x1 ribbing that I did on the leg and the top of the foot, and I did a 2x2 rib for about 15 rows. That's my usual. So yes, it's a lovely pair of socks that I knit, and like I said, one got in the wash, one didn't, so the other one's got to go in the wash today. So that was one of the finished objects. The second one is going to be a little bit of a talk about it. It's one that I have been working on for a very long while. It is my Rocaine pullover. It's all completed, but not quite, and I'll explain that in just a bit. I've cast it off. I've done the pattern as it said, the ribbing on the bottom. I've tried it on. I love how the top of it fits. I haven't woven in all the ends, but there it is. It's lovely. There's the progress keeper, so that's where I was the last time I showed it to you. I completed the sleeve, and then according to the pattern, and then realized that I didn't like that style of a sleeve because it was straight down and the bottom of it was too wide for me. And then the ribbing sort of comes in like that. So I wanted a more tapered sleeve, and so I ripped it all the way back again till here and then re-knit it using my own calculation of a decreasing sleeve. And I had to leave in markers. The reason I left them there was just to sort of remind me to explain what the modifications were that I did for this. So I left in markers on one sleeve so I'd know exactly how to space them when I was knitting the second sleeve, and that's what I did. So to end with, I even went a little longer on the ribbing to the length that I wanted, because I think the pattern has it coming down to here, which is too long for me. So I just needed to go down there, and so I just sort of did it whatever felt you know, like a good style for me. With the neck, I had to do a few extra rows of ribbing before picking up for the I-cord edging, just because I wanted it to come up a little bit more. It was too wide on the shoulders. I just brought it up about, instead it's, I think the pattern only calls for about 2 or 3 rows of the ribbing. Is it ribbing? Yeah. But I actually went to almost an inch on there, and it just sort of cinches it up just a little bit without it being too wide. I would have worn it for you today, except that it's not quite finished, because after I knit the whole thing and I wore it on, I don't like how the ribbing on the bottom is. So what happens is it fits very nicely. First of all, it's a split hem, which you can see. It's a split hem. According to the pattern, I try to make it a little longer, but when I wear it, it's just opening it up too much on the split of the hem. So what I'm going to do is going to rip back the ribbing on the bottom and sort of do it like a curved hem and without the split. And I think that might be a little bit more flattering, because now it looks like I'm sideways when you look at it. It just looks way wider than it should, and I don't know how to correct that. So I have another store-bought jumper that I really like, and it's got that sort of a curved hem on the bottom, so I'd probably have to do some short rows. I've never done that before, but I thought, you know, since I'm trying different things on this sweater or this jumper, I might as well try that as well. So yes, I wanted to show it to you that it has been completed, but not yet, because that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna rip back the ribbing and just redo it as a curved hemline on the bottom. So those are the two finished objects. I can't remember what else. Oh yes, I've been working on the Nature's blanket, and you know, the last time, I have to say you know, apologies for saying the designer wrong on that. It's not Betsy Makes. It's by Cherry Heart, Sandra from Cherry Heart, Sandra Paul, I think her name is. And it's a beautiful blanket, and I have started doing it, but it's a little slow going because it's crochet, and as much as I like crochet, it's knitting is a little more comfortable for my hands. And so I've been working the squares on my trip to work on the train. And after about 4 squares, I kind of got bored of that, because I was trying to do the same design for, it calls for like 8 of the squares, but I'm doing half the size of the blanket, so I'm doing 4. And I really couldn't take anymore. I was like, okay, put that away, back to socks. Is what I will now show you in my works in progress. So I just went on a cast on frenzy since the beginning of January, and it's something, isn't it, with when the new year kicks in. I just feel like I want to work on, I want to first of all have a clean slate, so I wanted to complete a few things, but at the same time I thought it was a great time to start new things as well. So here it is. This morning I just cast on a few stitches. I have not even completed all of them to join in the round, but I'm using 2.25 millimeters from this project, and it is a sock. So I've been watching the Kia's Bod podcast by Kia, who's from Sweden, I believe. And I really like her podcast. It's very calming to watch, and she has a lot of projects that she works on. If you've never watched her, I strongly suggest that you do. Go check her out. And so for this year, she's doing free sock 2020, I think the hashtag is, where she's introducing free patterns, sock patterns through the year. And I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to do another 12 pairs of socks, because I think I want to do more knitting of garments this year. But then I was drawn to the sock knitting again, because I wanted something different from the crochet squares on my train knitting. And so I picked up the sock pattern that she was introducing, and this is lovely. It is called the On the Fence, and I'll put up the designer's name up here. And this is just from leftover yarn. So basically her idea is to use what you've got. And so I found some yarn in my stash that would go together. This is from Regina, who's Herb Splat Regina, who I think no longer dyes yarn. And it was in a colorway called it slips poire, like peas in French maybe, and it's a lovely, it's showing up as yellow, but it's a little more lime green. And this is lovely sparkly yarn, if you can see it. It's a blue, it's called Blue Jay by Noble Ruby Designs here in Canada. And so I had just enough for the two, for the pair that she, the pattern calls for, and I've completed one sock of that. And it's a lovely design. It's got a little bit of color work in it. My first color work in socks, and I have to say that I really enjoyed it. For the cast on, I used the Norwegian cast on, the old Norwegian cast on, and I like it. It's very, very stretchy. And it looks nice too. It looks very, the yarn is too light for you to see it, but you gotta just trust me on that. It's nice. I used Fish Lips Kissed Heel. The pattern has your regular heel flap, heel turn, and gusset. And it's a free pattern. So yeah, if you want, check it out. It also has this really nice color work at the end of the just at the bottom of the foot before the toes. And yeah, it's a nice sock. So I've completed one, I'm on to the second one. I'm not, you know, putting myself to finish a pair a month or anything like that, but I believe she will be introducing a pair or a new sock pattern for every month. So you can check that out as well. So that is my first work in progress for this year. And the second is which one do I want to pick? This one here. Okay, so this is the Winterfell, and I'm sure I'm not pronouncing it correctly, but I will put the pattern as well as the designer's name up on the screen. It's by Skandier, Ellie of Skandier. Skandier Knits is it, and it's called Winterfell, and it is a beautiful design, colorwork design. There it is. It's a beautiful pattern. I've just printed it in black and white, but it's got this lovely yoke, and hers is in a bright blue, black, and white, I believe, or dark gray must be. And I've had this pattern ever since it came out, when Ellie was, you know, as soon as she released the pattern, she had also given a discount on the pattern. So I grabbed it then because I knew I loved it. But I couldn't decide on the colors, and at first I was thinking, you know, because I like a little bit of purple or pink in it, and I would have liked to put in some pink, but then I wanted now, it's probably more than a year now I've had the pattern, and then I was thinking, no, I wanted a little bit more versatile to be able to wear with you know, lots of different bottoms maybe. So and I opted for something very plain, but I think I like it, and it is in a very, very dark gray, a lighter gray. Just want to make sure I don't lose any stitches here, and white. So let me just pull this up just to make sure I don't lose any stitches. And this is what I've done so far. I can say that I probably knit all this minus about 6 rows on the very first day. And the reason being is the color work, it looks very complicated, but it's not. It's very simple, and the pattern is very well written out. It leaves you with having an idea on how to do increases, and you know, she gives you a formula basically on how to do increases. And then then every time I think about color work and having to like think about it while now the rows are getting a little longer, so if you make a mistake you have to, like, you know, go all the way back, which happened to me. So I am just pacing myself now, but I am I think about halfway through the color work, and I have a little bit more to go, so the other half to go. So the yarn that I'm using, I don't have the bands with me here, actually, do I? I have one of them. Okay, here. This is the white. It's only half a band. You'll just have to trust me on what I say. It's called Elise, and it's Lana Gold, and this color is color lot 337435. I don't know if that is a color number or a lot number, but it's basically the white. So it's not as white as it's showing up. It's a little bit more of a off-white, a little cream to it. And then the dark gray, it's actually a very dark gray, and you can see that, yeah, and it's got a little bit of a heathered look to it. That is Lux Merino, and both of these are 50-50, meaning 50% wool and 50% acrylic. And this is a very, very light fingering, so it's almost like lace. which is fine because I didn't want a very thick sweater or a thick jumper. I didn't want a very thick jumper, so you can see the top of it, you can almost see through it. I'm not sure how it's going to behave once it's blocked, but it's a light sweater, light jumper for sure. And then the gray that I'm using is from Holz Garn, and it is the Tides, which is 70% wool and 30% silk, and it's in the colorway Sterling. So that's how it comes in a 50 gram. And so far I have used, this is the 50 gram that I've used. So you can see I've used very, very little, and I have lots more to go. I doubt I will use all of it. So yeah, that is for the contrast color in between. So I have to say I love this project, and I wish I had more time, or I wish I was more confident with my color work maybe, so that I could pick it up and, you know, keep going on it. But the thing is that when I stop, I kind of have to check back to see where I am. I will show you what my floats look like. So I've tried to keep it as tidy as possible in the back. And I like to keep my floats short. So if I have about 3 stitches going across, on the second stitch or the middle stitch, I would lock the other color in the yarn before I go on. And that's really helped because I don't see a problem so much with the tension, but you can see that there is some tension issues right there. Like you can see those stitches where the tension is a problem. But yeah, I think it improves with experience. Color work definitely does. So it's one of those things where the more you do, the better you get at it. And if you think about your tension, I find that it actually gets worse. So for me, and I have to say, I love this bag that I'm housing it in. Oh, I have too many things poking out. And the only reason I'm not locking it in here is because I wanted to keep the pattern standing straight up. But this is the bag I showed you, and which I got from the Rick Rack Room, and I love it. It's very roomy. It's fitting here, all those yarn, balls of yarn, as well as the project, the needles, the pattern. I've got a thing of stitch markers in there. I've got my clickety-click thing for the row counter, yeah, so it's really holding quite a bit in there. Then, okay, so moving on, that is my second work in progress. Then moving on to my third. This chair is one of those big chairs that's very comfy, and I have lots of space around me to put things in. So here, I will just show you what the yarn is first. Okay, so this seems to be a Holz Garn heavy podcast, but I have had this cone of Holz Garn. I believe this is also Tides, because it is wool and silk. I'm not sure what it is, but it's in blue, and the colorway is called Bloom. It is a very soft pink. So that is what I'm using. And the pattern I'm using, I don't have the pattern printed out here, but I'm sure all of you know about it. It's called the Elton by Joji Locatelli. And here is my knitting so far on it. So you can see it's got these subtle stripes. So the darker stripe is the Holz Garn, and the softer stripes is in a mohair. The mohair is the softest pink. It's like a cloud. It's like a cloud, it really is. There it is. It's very fluffy, soft, and it's by Milda Bordeaux. And I love this mohair, Milda Bordeaux, UK yarn dyer. So yes, and this is exactly what I wanted to knit with it, and that, you know, it's one of the projects that I wanted to use it in, and I'm really happy that I was able to cast it on. This pattern, did I tell you what it was? Yes, it's the Elton by Joji Locatelli. So this pattern is supposed to be a contrast to my color work, because the color work needs me to think a little bit while I'm doing the, you know, the color work, the stranded knitting. So this is more like a plain knit kind of thing, and then purl on the back rows. But it's turned out to be a little bit more of a thinking process than the color work is, which baffles me, because the way the cardigan starts off is it's knit in parts, without giving away too much. I mean, I don't think I'll be giving away anything really, but it's just not, it's not knitting back and forth like from, usually you'd go from your right front and go all the way around, and then, you know, go around like that, and that's how I would have thought you knit it. But no, she has you knitting them in parts, and then you're doing this knitting back and forth in the round, not in the round, but something like that. So I lost interest very quickly, but then decided that, you know, and I was trying to figure out another way to knit it, and maybe do steeks, or, you know, I was thinking about steeking, because I really just wanted to be able to knit. But I've talked myself out of doing anything besides what the pattern really asks, the designer asks me to do, because I want to be sure that I'm not messing it up. I like the yarn really a lot, and I want to do justice to the yarn. And I think at the end of it, the pattern will all come together if I just keep up with it. So I have to say I have lost a little interest just because of the construction in the beginning. It's not as straightforward as and it's not even difficult. What it is I just don't understand why it has to be that way. Like, why can it not be just, you know, the straightforward way? You have some short rows in the back, obviously, to bring up the neck so that the front hangs properly, and that could have been easily achieved without the way this pattern is written up. It's not complicated, but it's not what you would expect. So it is going a lot slower than I wanted it to, because I thought it was just going to be knitting, and, you know, it would move along faster. It would be easy after I come from work. I don't really want to think at the end of the day. I just want to be able to knit on something. And many times I don't knit on garments because of that, because I feel like I need to think on something. So yeah, I was looking for a stockinette project, but this is not exactly that yet. There are a few more steps before I probably will get to just, you know, straight stockinette. So yeah, that's just my little blurb on it. If you've knit the Elton, you probably know what I'm talking about. Okay, that's it. And then now on to, so those are my works in progress, and I'm sorry, I don't intend for this podcast to be so long, but I just wanted to share some goodies that I got with you. I was really happy to receive these things. I put it away in a box just because I wanted to, again, keep it away from my dog, who comes to visit me while I'm knitting sometimes, and loves to play with the yarn. So One of my friends from my Instagram friends from Scotland, Carla, sent me a lovely skein of yarn. And this one is by Dandelion and Dogwood. Never had a skein from them before. And it's got sparkle in it. I don't know if you can see. Beautiful. And it's in the colorway, the Nutcracker. It's 75% superwash merino and 10% nylon and 5% magic. It's got 5% magic in there. I think it's the metallic stellina that they're talking about. She also included a lovely DPN holder. And it's got a lovely floral print on the inside. I love that print. It's beautiful. And a little stitch marker from Chapel View Crafts. And I feel like I've just been enjoying so much of Chapel View Crafts, her stitch marker, her progress keepers, stitch markers, and here's one more from Carla. So thank you, Carla. She also included this lovely notebook that I can use. And you know, now that I've got so many ideas for designs, this would be lovely for me to carry in my purse. I just wanted to keep all of this, share it with you before I started to use it. So yeah, this will fit very nicely in my purse, and so I'll be able to jot down those ideas when it comes to mind, as it does. And another of my viewers, Karen, sent me a little card, a Christmas card, and in it were all these lovely fiber related things, I'd say. Okay, I don't want to show you the inside of the card, so here it is, lovely card. And she had these tiny post-it notes that I could use, and some stickers with llamas and sheep, and really cute, and a lovely stitch marker. And this one's by Little Robin Cottage, and it's got a heart on it. Oops, I don't know how to show it without the lights. There we go. There. And this here is a little mini that she had hand dyed herself. So it's got very soft colors on it, pinks and blues and purples, which is beautiful. Thank you very much, Karen. I asked her permission to show it on the podcast. So yes, thank you very much, Karen, for that. It was really nice. It was such a cheerful package to receive. Came at a very appropriate time, just in the beginning of the year, when I was being a hermit, really hiding from people and hiding from, you know, just being totally camera shy and everything. So thank you very much for all of your kindness, for your love. And I really did appreciate the packages that I received, and I've enjoyed so much with opening up those Advent minis. And I have a project planned, but I am just a little nervous to cast on for it. And basically what it is I believe it's called the Kayla or the Carla cardigan, or it's, the pattern is written out for a jumper, but I want to make it into a cardigan, so I want to steek it. But the yarns that received, not all of them are just wool. They're probably superwash in there. There's different ones, so I am just a little worried about, you know, knitting up this whole cardigan, and then when I go to cut it, if it just doesn't work out. But I think it would be a really nice project. If you have any ideas on steeking, I know a lot of you have tried it already, do let me know how it works with superwash, because from all of the videos that I watched or shown, they say try not to use superwash yarn, but rather use pure wool, or hand spun or something, where it will just it will felt and it won't unravel. So that is my sort of my fear in doing that, but I really do want to make one of those. And again, that idea is from Kia of the Kia's Bod podcast. She had done one over with all of her Advent minis over December, and she had it ready for Christmas. So yes, maybe mine will be ready for next Christmas. At the rate that I'm going, who knows, maybe the year after. But yes, I do enjoy sitting and chatting with all of you, and I thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful week ahead of you, and thank you once again for being with me on this journey, and look forward to 2020 and all our knitting adventures ahead of us. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, happy knitting. Bye-bye.